Hi there. Welcome once again to your favorite sport channel here on YouTube, Ralf, where football's biggest moment goes under review. On this channel, we do football banter, post-game and pre-game analysis, and all events relating to soccer or football, as some people may choose to call it. If you are new to the channel, kindly like, subscribe, and put us on post notification so that whenever a content drops, you become privileged to be the first one to see the content. Okay, so we are going to look at the Premier League, and this is going to be a snappy and a very short one. We are going to look at the Premier League in game week 25. We are going to review some of the games and then also preview the games that are going to happen in game week 26. That's happening on Tuesday and then on Wednesday. So on the first game that preceded the game week 25 was a game between Leeds United and Nottingham Forest. Leeds United was playing at home against Nottingham Forest, and it was at the Ellen Road, and they were able to win that game by 3-1. One of the goals coming in from their striker Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who has been doing very good this season. And after scoring their 3 goals, Nottingham Forest, Sean Dyche's men were able to pull one back. And this was a game that was a battle between those who are fighting to survive for relegation. So these two teams are on the same number of points, and they are just above the relegation zone. So a win for either of them would have just taken them just a bit more security above the relegation zone, and Leeds United were able to do that against Nottingham Forest in that game. On Saturday, there were games as well. There was an early kickoff between Manchester United and Tottenham Tottenham Hotspurs. So Manchester United were playing at home at the Old Trafford Stadium, and they were able to beat Tottenham Hotspurs by 2-0. This is the same Tottenham Hotspur that has been giving Manchester United so much trouble last season. They met them, they beat them home and away in the Premier League last season. They beat them in the Europa League final and also beat them in one of the domestic cups. So for Manchester United to get a result against them, kudos to them this season. So they were led by Michael Carrick and assisted by Steve Holland, and they were able to get a win in that game. Unfortunately for Tottenham Hotspur, there was a red card in that game. Their captain, Romero, got a red card somewhere around the 20th minute, and that was where the disaster started for Tottenham Hotspur. So Manchester United, now they are flying the red flag so high, and they are fourth on the league position. They are fighting for the top four position, and I think they are 6 points or 5 points above sixth place Liverpool. So it's looking like it's a good call for the management of the team, or the hierarchy of the team, going in for Michael Carrick and then putting Ruben Amorim work away. So there was another game between um, Bournemouth and then Aston Villa. So Bournemouth were playing at home at the Vitality Stadium, and they drew 1-1 to Aston Villa. Aston Villa is also one of the teams in the top four who are looking at probably maybe winning the league or making European football. And unfortunately, down the road, they dropped 2 valuable points to Bournemouth, and then that's going to affect them going forward, because the teams right behind them, like Chelsea and then Manchester United, did win their games. So if they want to really play in Europe next season, then they should up their game. And there was Arsenal playing at home to Sunderland. Arsenal won that game by 3-0 against Sunderland. In the return encounter, Sunderland were able to get a point in that game. They drew 1-1. If you can remember, they drew 1-1 with Arsenal at the Stadium of Lights. But this time around, Arsenal came all guns blazing. They were not ready to surrender any points to Sunderland in this game. So they won by 3-0. And yes, now they are still 6 points above the second place team, Manchester City, and they are looking like a team that is going to win the league. But I always maintaining my stance that until the season is over, I am not going to trust Arsenal, because it's the Premier League, for Christ's sake. And if you are someone who have followed the Premier League for a while now, it always has a fairy tale behind it. You don't know what to expect. And looking at what Arsenal has done in the past few 3-4 seasons, they always flatter to deceive. So I was telling one of my Arsenal friends that if I was an Arsenal fan, my heart, yes, will be telling me and supporting Arsenal. But honestly, in my head, I don't think Arsenal is going to win the league, because Manchester City is a team that is chasing them. And you wouldn't want Manchester City to be a team chasing you, led by Pep Guardiola. even though they are not doing well, you never know what's going to happen. The Premier League is always a fairy tale. When you least expect, that is when results are not going to go in your favor. So Arsenal, they are still on top of the Premier League, and they are 6 points above Manchester City. There was Burnley playing at home, and then they lost 2-0 to West Ham United. And there was the game between Fulham and then Everton. Fulham did score first, but Everton were able to come back and then win that game by 2 goals to 1. One of the goals was scored by the former Chelsea midfielder Kieran Drisby-Hill, and there was Wolves playing against Chelsea. So Wolves were playing at home to Chelsea, and Wolves are languishing at the bottom of the Premier League. It looks like they are not going to survive it, because last season they just escaped relegation by its skin, and I don't think that this season they will be able to survive relegation. So there were 3 goals coming in from Cole Palmer, and it was a hat trick for the England international. It was his third, is it the third or the fourth hat trick in the first half in the Premier League, and that's a record for him as a Chelsea player. So Chelsea were able to win that game by 3 goals to 1. There was the game between Newcastle United and Brentford. Brentford went away to beat Newcastle United at the St James's Park, which was a shocker to me, because Newcastle United have at the St James's Park, it has been a fortress for travelers, and Brentford going there to win was just a surprise to me. So um, they lost their game, and then yes, that were the games that were played on Saturday. And let's look at the games that were played on Sunday. So on Sunday, we had Brighton and Hove Albion playing at home to Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace won that game by a single goal. So Brighton and Hove Albion were playing at the American Express Stadium, and they sat at home and lost by a lone goal to Crystal Palace. A Crystal Palace side that have lost Mark Gehi, that has lost Ebrechi Eze, and then 1 or 2 players, but they were still able to get a win against Brighton and Hove Albion. And then the last game of the day of match week 25 was the game between that was the cracker of the week. It was the game between Liverpool and then Manchester City. So Liverpool were at Anfield, and they lost that game by 2 goals to 0. They scored the first goal through Dominic Szoboszlai, and that was there was a thunderbolt of a free kick about 30 yards away from goal, and that was a very splendid free kick taken by Dominic Szoboszlai, the Hungarian international. He scored a similar goal against Arsenal in the Premier League, and he did same against against Manchester City. But this time around, Manchester City were able to come back, even though they haven't won at Anfield for several years. They were able to come back and then get the win. So that makes it just 6 points between them and then Arsenal. So Liverpool lost at home to Manchester City. Pep Guardiola's men, they were able to fight. The first goal for them came from Bernardo Silva, and then there was a penalty by Erling Haaland, who scored that penalty. And there was even drama at the end of the game. Yes, Dominic Szoboszlai, who scored the only goal for Liverpool, got a red card. He tried to stop Erling Haaland from he tried to protect the ball, and by so doing, he pulled Erling Haaland's shirt, and that led to a red card and a disallowed goal as well. So that was that was the games that were played during the match week 25, and then we also have some games coming in match week 26 that is starting from tomorrow in the Premier League. So tomorrow in the Premier League, we have the game between just give me a moment. Yes, so tomorrow we have Chelsea playing at home against Leeds United. And when you look at the reverse encounter, Chelsea lost to Leeds United. That was a woeful defeat from Chelsea. That was led by Enzo Maresca. And they lost that game, I think, by 3 goals to 0. But this time around, with a new gaffer in town, with a new manager in town, I think that things are going to change. I predict Chelsea to win this game, because when I look at Liam Rossini, what all I see is he not being so tactical as a manager, but all he's doing is player profiling, and as well as also um psyching up the players. Yes, like emotionally and then psychologically, he's working on the players, and that is what is working for him. That is what I see as a Chelsea fan. I don't see anything too tactical. All I see is he psyching up the players and then getting them prepared, getting them ready, because the games are coming in thick and fast. And at this point, he came in the middle of the season. He's not going to have that time to be able to implement his tactics or his style of play. So this is the right time to rather sign the players, get them prepared mentally to go and play the game. So I predict Chelsea to win against Leeds United, so that they can get at least a revenge in the reverse encounter. Everton are playing at home to Bournemouth, and then Everton. Yes, they've been blowing hot and cold. Bournemouth, they haven't doing so good this season. So Everton playing at home at the Dickinson Stadium. Yes, I will predict Everton to win the game because even though Bournemouth, when you look at their record in January, they have done so good. They've played about they played 5 games, they won about four, and then just lost one. So they have a very good record in January, and even in February they started with a draw. But Everton are a very good side, especially when they are playing at home. So I'm not going to put it past Everton to at least get a win in that game. Tottenham Hotspur are playing at home to Newcastle United, and Tottenham Hotspur they did lose their game to Manchester United. So I will just predict that, looking at the loss against Manchester United, that should at least psych them up to go into this game against Newcastle United to win. And mind you, Newcastle United are not a team that do good whenever they travel. Whenever they are playing away from home, they struggle to get results. So I'll not put it beyond Tottenham Hotspurs to get a win against Newcastle United. There is West Ham United playing against Manchester United. So West Ham United too, it's been like they've been on some form of resurgence since their new manager came in. Somerville has been scoring goals very well this time around, and with some new inclusions, the likes of Axel Disasi and co, they have been doing very good so far from the second part of the season. And against Manchester United are doing very good as well since the arrival of Michael Carrick. So it's going to be a tricky game. So I'll just go for a draw in that game because West Ham United, to one thing they are fighting for is their lives when it comes to the relegation battle. So due to that, they will at least want to fight very hard to get a draw in this game. And then on Wednesday, there are other games in the Premier League for game week 26. There's Aston Villa playing at home to Brighton and Hove Albion. Aston Villa they drew their game. So going into this game, all I'm going to say is they are going to win this game against Brighton and Hove Albion. Crystal Palace playing against Burnley. Burnley are looking at the other team that is going to join Wolves to the relegation to get relegated. So I don't see Burnley stopping Crystal Palace in any way. Crystal Palace are playing at home, and I see them winning that game. Manchester City playing against Fulham. So Manchester City are doing the chasing job, and they wouldn't want to um, drop more points against teams so that Arsenal will get a chance to extend the point. So against Fulham, even though Fulham are a good side, I'll go for Manchester City, Pep Guardiola's team winning. Nottingham Forest playing at home to Wolves, and Nottingham Forest lost their last game. Sean Dyche has been doing a good job since his arrival, so I'll go for a win for Nottingham Forest. Sunderland playing at home to Liverpool. Sunderland did lose their game against Arsenal, and they are playing Liverpool, who also did lose their game to Manchester City. So just due to the fact that Sunderland are playing at home and Liverpool have been bad this season, I'll just go for a win for Sunderland in that game at the Stadium of Light. And then finally, the last game of the game with 26 is going to be the game between Brentford and then Arsenal. And that is a London derby. So London derbies are tricky. Arsenal are traveling away from home. Brentford have been doing very good at home. And playing at home, they will want to be one of the teams that will at least spoil the party for Arsenal. So I wouldn't put it beyond Brentford, who are a very good team when it comes to set pieces as well, with their long throws and then all that. I wouldn't put it beyond them to at least get a draw against Arsenal. I am always saying this. Yes, um, I still don't believe that Arsenal is going to win the league because of past precedents, because of what has happened in the past 2-3 seasons, what I have seen. And the Premier League, as I'm saying, is always a fairy tale. Don't think that because you have taken the lead, you have extended the point, and that is the end. No, the Premier League is always a fairy tale. When you least expect it, that is when results will not go your way. So I'm going to predict a double chance, a win or a draw for Brentford against Arsenal in that game. So these are the games that are going to happen in game week 26. Because we have limited time, this is where we are going to draw the curtain on this edition of Ralf on VAR. where football's biggest moment goes under review. If you are new to the channel, kindly like, subscribe, and put us on post notification so that whenever a content drops, you become the first person to see it. Thanks for watching.
Walk away from Huddle then. Valdano. Smoked and they're appealing for offside. The ball came back off the foot of Steve Hodge.